Hello everyone, today is 5th of February, now it's 15 to 11 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for a day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. There are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment, and I will start with short summary of the situation on Ukrainian battlefield. According to reports from Russian media outlets, from military channels, not just Russian, but in general, military channels, there was significant changes in Donetsk sector of the front line, in Avdiivka area to be more precise, and according to reports that we are receiving, Russian armed forces managed to enter central part of Avdiivka residential area and are now few hundred meters away to cut supply line for Ukrainian grouping of forces on the southern eastern part of this city. If this information is correct, then I guess General Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces has to make a principal decision in today or tomorrow, before it's not too late, to withdraw forces from Avdiivka, especially from southern eastern part. Otherwise, it is highly likely that entire grouping of forces of Ukrainian army in this part of this city will be encircled and eventually neutralized. We may see huge number of Ukrainian military personnel lay down arms and surrendering. Very quick, fast development of the situation. No one expected, I guess, even 2 days ago, that Russian forces will enter central part of the city, but that's a reality on the ground, according to reports from military channels. Simultaneously, some military channels are reporting that heavy battles are conducted between the sides in the northern industrial area of Avdiivka, and Russian forces also simultaneously entering northern residential areas of Avdiivka. So situation for Ukrainian military is extremely difficult and becoming more and more dramatic as time goes by. And as I said, it all depends now on decisions that Ukraine's general staff will make. If, of course, Zaluzhny will receive permission from Zelensky to withdraw forces. Usually, political leadership of Ukraine demands from militaries to stay and fight for every single position as long as possible, and we did see so many examples of that. For example, Bakhmut is a prime example when up to 70,000 Ukrainian military personnel was sacrificed for that in undefendable city, and I would not be surprised if Zelensky will demand exactly the same approach to be used in connection with Avdiivka. And in that case, we may not see withdrawal of Ukrainian forces from this city. We will see probably exactly the opposite. More and more Ukrainian forces sent towards Avdiivka, and maybe yesterday's video that I share on my Telegram channel about Abrams tank that was allegedly moving towards Avdiivka is a confirmation, maybe confirmation, that decision already have been made by Kyiv regime, political decision, to sacrifice as many Ukrainian soldiers as needed to prolong somehow this Avdiivka operation, offensive operation of Russian armed forces towards Avdiivka. Let's see how things develop in upcoming days, but well, as I said, Ukrainian armed forces are in very difficult situation, and Ukrainian defense lines may collapse at any point. And also this morning, Russian military channels reported that Russian units had significant progress in direction of Yampolovka and in direction of Terny, in Krasny Liman sectors of the front line. Both these settlements are on the left bank of the Zhirbets river, and according to reports, forward units of Russian army are just in about 1,000 meters away from Yampolovka settlement. Yet again, another very difficult situation is building up in Krasny Liman sector of the front line for Kyiv regime. And yet again, if if general staff of Ukrainian armed forces are allowed to make decisions according to tactical situation on the battlefield, most likely Ukrainian units will withdraw from Yampolovka and Terny towards right bank of the Zherebets river. But if political decision will prevail, most likely Ukrainian units will be prohibited to leave their positions in the settlements, and eventually, well, Russian forces will be, will have no other option other than conduct operation in those settlements and, well, neutralize those Ukrainian units. When it comes to other sectors of the front line, we did not receive any reports about significant changes. Russian side is increasing pressure all along the front line. Initiative is in Russian hands, but of course main hotspot is Avdiivka. Let's see what additional information we will receive during the day, and of course I will share additional reports on my Telegram channel in a second update, on my Patreon, and today evening on my live stream on Rumble channel of mine, which will feature Telegram reports program. Well, this is it for a short summary of the situation on the Ukrainian battlefield. I remind you, dear friends, that there is plenty of military channels that are providing more detailed information about these clashes on the line of contact. My channel is about news, not just about military developments. Therefore, I have to continue with some other news. Although before that, let me remind you that this project with several channels and several programs exists solely thanks to support of members of our community, and I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider to support my work and this small media project with the small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page, on which, by the way, I do upload extra content on regular basis. Second updates are for quite a while now on my Patreon, and some additional extra content. Also, that's been said, let's continue with other news. And TASS News Agency's report about work of Russian air defense systems early hours of this morning, as a result of which 4 Ukrainian drones were shot down over the Bryansk region. No reports about casualties or any more or less significant damage on the ground. RIA Novosti's report that Zelensky first time admitted that he is considering to remove Zaluzhny from position of head of Ukraine's general staff. Zelensky spoke about this topic during the interview with RAI 1 TV channel. I guess RAI 1 is Italian TV channel. And well, during this interview, he spoke not just about possible changes in the leadership of Ukraine's military, but he also spoke about possible changes in the political leadership of Ukraine. He spoke about some reset that he has in plan, some big reset, a great reset. Well, who knows what he meant, by the way? Who knows what he meant? It seems like Zelensky and his inner circle are not really realizing that their time is up. Their time is up and they have to go. And seems like they are preparing for a fight in which I don't think they have any chances, really. But anyway, let's see how things develop. TASS News Agency's report that Zelensky visited the front line. This information based mainly on reports from Ukrainian media outlets. And according to them, yesterday, Zelensky was on zero line in Rabotina settlement on Zaporozhye sector of the front line. This is the Rabotina settlement. Well, many commentators, many people find this information hard to believe. And it is hard to believe. It is hard to believe. I also quite skeptical that Zelensky went to Rabotina. Maybe he was somewhere in Orekhov. But whatever the case, I would not rule out for 100% that he did not went to the zero line, because whenever Zelensky on any of the sectors of the front line, for example, about months ago, he was in Avdiivka whenever he does this kind of trips, media operations, I always remember a statement of former Prime Minister of Israel who said that Putin personally promised him that Russian side will not target Zelensky. And therefore, I guess if Putin promised that Russian side will not target Zelensky, that's what Russian side gonna do. Russian militaries will, and intelligence services or secret services will have no permission to conduct any operations against Zelensky personally, and therefore he's free to move all around Ukraine. And right now he probably afraid Ukrainian militaries much more than Russian militaries because of this open confrontation with the head of Ukraine's general staff. So maybe he was on the line of contact after all. I don't know. But anyway, whatever the case, yes, Zelensky may conduct some media operation and brag about it, but of course he couldn't boost morale of Ukrainian military personnel, because Zelensky definitely not the person that can have any respect of any decent human beings, and therefore it's highly unlikely that or anybody really in this world. Zelensky is disgraceful, I mean really bad human being, and I don't think his presence on any of the sectors of the front line will really boost morale for of Ukrainian troops. I really don't think so. I find it difficult to understand who can have any respect for Zelensky. I mean, really. Individual that sacrifice hundreds of thousands of his fellow citizens for geopolitical agenda of the Western states. I mean, how anybody can respect such an individual that basically destroyed future of Ukraine as a state, destroyed statehood of Ukraine and society of Ukraine. I mean, it's I don't know. TASS news agencies report, by the way, that US Senate presents bill on additional funding, including assistance to Ukraine. Let's go through this news here. So US Senate presented a compromise bill to allocate additional funding in 2024 fiscal year, combining funds for tightening border control on the southern border, assistance to Ukraine and Israel, and also Taiwan, by the way, included in this package. The document was published on the website of the US legislative body. According to document, the additional allocations are exceed 118 billion US dollars. Of this amount, senators propose to use little more than $60 billion to support Ukraine, 14.1 billion to support Israel, and 20.23 billion to ensure the security of the border with Mexico. US President Joe Biden supported the bill proposed by the US Senate to allocate additional funding in the 2024 fiscal year. So Biden is in support of this initiative from the senators, but we have a reaction of Speaker of House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, and he said that this initiative from Senate is dead upon arrival, and there is no way that Republicans in Congress will vote for this proposal, because it's even worse than initial proposal from Biden, according to Mike Jones. And he is more specific, and Republicans are more specific, that they want some really serious measures to be taken to secure border with Mexico. So in this Senate initiative, there is not enough concrete steps, according to Republicans, that will ensure that border will be really secured. So struggle between the sides continues, and who knows how long it will last. Eventually, probably they will manage to achieve some common ground, and some sums will be allocated for border security. Some money will go to Israel, and some for Kiev regime. But well, it seems like it will take more time. TASS news agencies report here, by the way, that according to these news agencies sources in security services here in Russia, weapons that was transferred to Kiev regime by NATO member states already have been seen in hands of Hamas fighters in the Middle East and in hands of gang Mexican cartel members in the Mexico, which is not surprising at all. Because if you remember, a few weeks ago there was reports in the Western media about some more than 40,000 pieces of different military equipment, different type of military equipment that was missing, that was delivered to Ukraine, but are missing, are unaccounted for. Among them, even manpads, which is a portable air defense system, like Stinger or Russian Strela. But in case of Ukraine, it's a Stinger, because Western ruling class and NATO member states probably were providing Stingers, although they could buy some Soviet or Russian era manpads in some third countries and transfer those also to Kiev regime. But what is the main point here, that if even manpads are missing, can you imagine what else have been sold by corrupt Ukrainian officials and militaries on the black market? Most likely some ITGMs, anti-tank guided missiles, machine guns, grenades, and I don't know, assault rifles. I mean, everything. They may not sell tank, but everything that can be, carried by human, they probably sell. And now those weapons will gradually enter US also, and Europe is already flooded with weapons from Ukraine. And European states may try to hide real statistics, but as I understand, gun violence is on rise all around Europe. And one may ask, from where these guns came from? Of course, they came from Ukraine. And by the way, United Kingdom may seem like a little bit in better position because it's an island after all. But just wait for it. Now United Kingdom is experiencing some knife crimes, some epidemic of knife crimes. But give it like 10, 15 months, and unfortunately, weapons will arrive on shores of UK also, and this knife crime most likely will fade away, and gun crime will take its place. Thousands of firearms will probably end up in United Kingdom also from Ukraine, and the Russian side was warning about it. NATO member states that this will happen, but they did not listen, and well, let's continue. And well, this is also interesting news. RT's report that Germany is to sign security pact with Ukraine this month. Germany and Ukraine may seal security cooperation agreement at the Munich Security Conference, which will take place from February 16th to 18th. The Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung has reported. The German newspaper claimed that Berlin and Kiev had already drafted the deal. Yet another media operation, propaganda move, and that's it. Nothing really serious. These so-called security pacts don't really obligate any of the parties to do anything really. Recently, United Kingdom signed something similar with Ukraine. Now Germany, some other countries also are planning to sign these papers. But yet again, this is pure propaganda moves. They mean nothing. Those NATO member states not gonna send their troops into Ukraine to fight against Russia. They will send the troops into Western Ukraine to occupy Western Ukraine, but they're not gonna send troops in Ukraine to fight Russia. That's for sure. And well, this is just a stupid media operation and nothing else. And well, as I understand, official Moscow has almost the same attitude towards these developments. If I'm not mistaken, when United Kingdom and Ukraine signed this security agreement, Russian Foreign Ministry reacted on it and stated that it's just a paper about declarations. That, you know, both sides are declaring something which just empty words because they are not obligated to do anything by those papers. Anyway, let's continue. And RT's report here that Russia restricts banana imports from South American country. And some of you may be a little surprised. Why am I sharing information about some economical stuff in the segment when I'm talking about Ukraine? But well, this information is directly connected with Ukraine. Let's go through the news. And well, Russian food safety regulator Rossellkhoznadzor has partially banned imports of bananas from Ecuador, the world's largest exporter of the fruit, after discovering a dangerous pest in the shipments, the agency said in its statement on its website on Friday. Well, ban targets 5 Ecuadorian exporters and will come into force on February 5. So from today, no more banana exports from Ecuador to Russia. And this is big deal, by the way. You may, think this is something irrelevant, but no, this is big deal because Russia is one of the major importers of bananas from Ecuador. Russia buys more bananas than even US. For $700 million, about $700 million to be little more precise. And well, Ecuador will lose now this $700 million, and not just that, but according to some reports that I see on other sources, excuse me, Rossellkhoznadzor is considering to ban also exports or imports from Ecuador of pineapples, which is, I guess, also will amount to at least, I don't know, tens of millions of dollars, maybe a few $100 million. And also, Rossellkhoznadzor already made decision to ban export of flowers from Ecuador. To be more precise, in separate move, the regulator also banned imports of Ecuadorian camations. I don't know how you say it, but it's a flowers. I mean, camations. So I guess Ecuador is big in export of these flowers also, and well, Russia will no longer be available. Russian market will no longer be available for those flowers, and this is just the beginning, I guess. And this is response, by the way, from Moscow. This is my understanding, how I see it, that this is a reaction of Moscow on decision of Ecuadorian government, president of Ecuador, to transfer Russian weapons in inventory of Ecuadorian military and security services to US. So Ecuador made decision to transfer these weapons to US in the hope that they will receive some new weapons from US for some $100 or $200 million. Well, they already lost about $1 billion. Is it worth it for Ecuador? I don't think so, but yet again, decisions already been made. And by the way, Ecuador, to avoid sanctions from Russia, because Ecuador is of course breaking the agreement with Russia by transferring Russian weapons to third party without Russia's agreement. You know what they did? They marked these weapons, and we are talking about helicopters, by the way. We are talking about air defense systems and some other weapon systems. They marked it as a metal scrap and transfer to US as a metal scrap. But of course, they're not gonna fool Russian side by this move, and they didn't. And that's a first step as a response from Russia. There will be more steps, and I really think Ecuadorian government made a huge mistake by destroying relationships with one of the major countries in this world, one of the leading BRICS member state. And for what? For what? I mean, why Ecuadorian government position Ecuador as a hostile state to Russia? Why they did it, man? It don't really make any sense if you think about it from a point of view of strategic interests of Ecuador. As I see it, I mean, where is the interests of Ecuadorian people in this move of Ecuadorian government? They already lost about $1 billion, and they will lose much more. And for what? But it is what it is, man. That president of Ecuador is probably a puppet of Washington, and well, he don't care about interests of Ecuadorian people. That's all it is. Anyway, let's continue. US and United Kingdom conducted yet another airstrikes on Yemen. 15 airstrikes were conducted during the previous night. Well, good news for US military industrial complex, bad news for rest of the world. And of course, US and UK will achieve nothing with this strikes. They will just make Middle East even more fragile, even more closer to further escalation. RTs report that British aircraft carrier to miss NATO drills over propeller shaft issue. Well, I did report about it yesterday during the live stream on my YouTube channel, and well, I will share now also in the main update. The Royal Navy's aircraft carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth, which is a flagship of UK's Navy, if I'm not mistaken. So HMS Queen Elizabeth is set to skip the upcoming major NATO exercises it was supposed to lead after suffering an unexpected issue in one of its propeller shafts shortly before its planned departure. The development was announced by the Royal Navy on a Sunday, with the aircraft carrier's sister ship HMS Prince of Wales set to take its place in the NATO drills. And there is additional information that this Prince of Wales, which is a copy basically of the Queen Elizabeth, these are two similar project aircraft carriers, one may say brand new aircraft carriers, but point is that this HMS Prince of Wales will need about a week to get prepared, and then it's not yet 100% clear that it will be able to participate in these drills. It may also had some technical issues. Both these aircraft carriers, by the way, constantly have some technical issues. But well, it is what it is, man. And to continue this topic of state of UK's fleet, I will share with you this information. I guess you will find it somewhat fascinating. That well, that's it. British Telegraph reported that Britain's warships have gyms where land attack missiles should be, and there is a picture here provided. This is Type 41 destroyers, and they have gyms in a place where shafts supposed to be for ground attack missiles. And well, because of the lack of funding, British Navy was unable to basically purchase those systems. And in this area, you know, not to waste empty space, they put Jim in there. And this is, by the way, I mean, state of UK's Navy. You cannot make this up, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. And to continue with the to stay with situation about, you know, this UK's military, we have report here about which I also reported on my Telegram about state of UK's armed forces by UK's own assessments. So British Army is unprepared for potential large-scale and prolonged war due to personnel shortages and the challenges in recruiting and retaining troops. A report by UK government's Defence Committee has found. So this is government's finding, by the way. This is not analytics from some media or some experts. This is government's finding that British Army is unprepared for a potential large-scale and prolonged war, which is not really surprising because many well-known military experts here in Russia or in the West, like Scott Ritter or Colonel McGregor, they spoke time to time about state of British Army, and well, they are quite skeptical, or they used to be quite skeptical about battle capabilities of UK's army, and well, they were absolutely correct, because now findings of UK's government basically states exactly the same. Well, I guess London will pay little more attention to its military, and well, eventually in 5, 10, 15 years time, UK's Navy, UK's Air Force, UK's ground forces will maybe come a force to be reckoned with. But right now, it seems like, well, only special forces that UK has, I mean, one of the best special forces in the world, like SAS, for example, that's the only force that UK can rely on. But those special forces not gonna be able to conduct large-scale military operations. I mean, they are forces to conduct some precise operations. And at least nobody is saying that. At least UK's military still has something to be proud of, and this is, of course, SAS. And I did not see any reports about degradation of battle capabilities of SAS forces. They used to be one of the best in the world, and I guess they still are one of the best in the world. RT's report here that Northern Ireland elects first nationalist leader. This is a big deal, by the way. I guess our members of our community from UK or from Northern Ireland can express their understanding of the situation. But well, I guess Northern Ireland and Ireland were never closer to reunification that after this development, because Sinn Féin vice president, and Sinn Féin is a political wing of the IRA, as I understand, Irish Republican Army, or Ireland's Republican Army, and Sinn Féin is engaged in political in politics for decades now, and for good, because as a result of this political dialogue between the sides, Northern Ireland become a peaceful place, at least peaceful place, maybe not ideal, but still any peace is better than war. And now, by the way, Vice President of Sinn Féin, Michelle O'Neill, has heralded a new dawn in Northern Irish politics after becoming the province's first ever national first minister on Saturday. in an historic move that could increase the prospects of united Ireland. Of course, unification of Ireland will not happen in a day or two. One should always remember that there are many people in Northern Ireland, Irish people, ethnic Irish people, that are not Catholics, they are Protestants, they are part of Anglican Church, and they are loyalists. They are loyal to United Kingdom, to London, and there was basically civil war in the Northern Ireland between Catholics and the Protestants. So I would not say that unification of Ireland with the Northern Ireland will happen anytime soon, like in a few months' time or even few years' time, but potentially, well, I guess after this move, door probably is open for such development, which will be, of course, great national victory of Irish people in general. Of course, maybe not everybody will be happy with this, but majority of Irish people will, of course, celebrate unification of Ireland as a great victory. So let's see. But anyway, as long as there is peace, by the way, and sides are talking and not shooting each other, it's good. It's all good. And well, also quite interesting news that in Central African Republic, local armed forces with support of Russian instructors defeat assault of the terrorist groups from Sudan. And as a result of the clashes between the sides, one of the leader of this terrorist group was neutralized by forces of Central African Republic with assistance of Russian instructors. And well, one more reason for African nations to look for better ties with the Moscow, because Central African Republic with the active support of Russia, also Mali with the active support of Russia, Niger, by the way, with active support of Russia, will definitely manage to defeat all the extremists and the terrorists, and well, they will hopefully they will find their way towards peaceful development and prosperity. And well, Russia will stand next to them as long as, well, there is goodwill between the sides and the friendly relationships. So great news, by the way, great news. Also, RT is reporting that Red Sea crisis spurring demand for rail freight via Russia, according to CNBC. Not really big surprise, but let's read several sentences. The Houthi rebel attacks on the vessels in the Red Sea have spurred the burgeoning interest in the alternative routes, such as the China-Europe rail route that runs through Russia's Far East, CNBC reported on this week. Companies that organize the shipment of goods have registered sharp increase in inquiries and the bookings for the route, according to the article. Transit via rail is attractive to shippers because it is cheaper than air freight and quicker than using ocean transportation. Railgate Europe, which transports goods including furniture, toys, clothes, and automotive parts from China through Russia to European countries, told CNBC the transit time is significantly better than via ocean. The journey takes between 14 and 25 days, depending on its origin and destination, according to the company's chief business development officer, Julia Skylate. Well, however, some firms have been raising concerns about sending goods via the rail through Russia. Since a war in Ukraine started, many companies were afraid to deliver their cargoes via Russia as a train passes part of Russian territory. This expert told CNBC, since war started, number of bookings decreased significantly via Russia, but within the last year, this route is recovering due to good transit time and the prices. She said, adding that the demand for rail transit has spiked since the Houthis started attacking vessels in the Red Sea. So, well, good news, by the way, good news for Russian railway, for Russian economy, and for businesses also, because, I mean, if transport, shipment of goods through Russian railway is cheaper and faster than through some other means, then why should they don't use it? Just because of politics? They are businesses, man. Their main goal is to do business, to make money. It's not about politics for them. And many businesses are operating exactly as they should, and they are choosing most profitable routes. And this demand will only increase, by the way. And whenever we are talking about transit routes through Russia, of course, I have to mention, by the way, Northern Sea Route. Northern Sea Route, because mark my word, 10, 15 years, 20 years, and I'm 100% sure Northern Sea Route that goes through the northern coastline of Russian Federation will become a absolutely dominant trade route for this world. I'm quite sure about it. Even now, by the way, Russian side, with help of quite a large, biggest in the world, icebreaker, including nuclear icebreaker fleet, are capable to transport vessels safely through the northern shipping route, even in the winter times. In the summertime, this route is already quite busy, and demand will only increase. Just mark my word. If Western ruling class will not provoke Third World War, and if this world will still remain, then in 15, 20 years time, this northern shipping route definitely become a major trade route for the world. And well, I will end this update with this very interesting news that Oleg Kononenko, commander of the Roscosmos cosmonaut squad and the TASS special correspondent, this person on the International Space Station has beaten the world record for the most time spent in space. This is yesterday's information, by the way. So yesterday at 11:30 a.m. Moscow time, Kononenko surpassed the achievement of another Russian cosmonaut, Gennady Radilka, or Padilka, who spent 878 days, 11 hours, and 29 minutes and 48 seconds in the space over the course of 5 missions through 1998 and 2015. So, well, new world record in terms of time that cosmonauts spend in space, and this new record is more than 878 days, which is, well, almost 3 years, by the way, in space. Which is, I don't know, man. I spoke about this yesterday on my during the live stream in on YouTube, on the main YouTube channel, and I did express my opinion that me personally, I find it even difficult to imagine how it feels to be in a space, in a space station. I mean, we all see in movies and even videos from space station itself, but there is no way you can really imagine how it feels to be there in the space and to look on our planet from there. It must be something, I don't know, man, fascinating, and it is really something out of this world. Great news, by the way. Congratulations to Russian cosmonaut. And I will end this update on this nice positive information, if I may. And well, I hope you will find this update interesting, and if so, please click that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like, and please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends from both platforms, by the way, from Rumble, from YouTube, with your friends on any of the other platforms, or just about anywhere. It will definitely help me to reach wider audience. And if you think this channel, this project with several channels and programs is interesting, useful, informative, and deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, please consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You can see links on this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.